experts in the area about best practices. So it's not that we're not doing something, but right now we're just kind of in a normal cold and flu prevention place, right? So if you have to cough into a tissue, or as I've taught my daughter, do the chicken wing, right? You guys know the chicken wing? All right, wash your hands. If you are sick, also please do stay home. We're giving you permission from the top to not power through right now, but to just take those precautionary measures to stay home and to take care of yourselves. And then also, if there's any changes in what we're needing to do as a university, we will communicate those things. So if you haven't heard anything, it's going to be kind of business as usual. Right now, we feel really good about that plan. And we have a lot of support from people like even the governor is helping universities plan through that. So we just want to reassure you, it's not that we're not doing things. At this point, all we have to do right now is just kind of normal precautions. So we're grateful that you're partnering with us. We're going to just work together to be as healthy as we can, and hopefully that's all we're going to have to do. So thanks.
What's up, guys? My name is Taylor Howie. Thank you so much for being here today in chapel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week and hope you have a wonderful weekend. Welcome to your WVAs. We're going to do a quick game. Guess where I am? Option A, Mars. Option 2, Bay Bridge. Or option 3, the Golden Gate Bridge. Which one am I at? You guessed the Golden Gate Bridge. You are correct. I'm in San Francisco right now. It's a beautiful day, and yeah.
I can't keep on losing you.
All right, guys, here are all of the announcements for this week. And don't forget, on Wednesdays, we have Spikeball Club starting at 12:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. 12:30 p.m. Wednesdays. Be there on the field. Ladies and gentlemen, mark your calendars for April 2nd. Well, you're wondering what's happening April 2nd. Well, April 2nd is a spring ball, so mark your calendars for the spring ball. Tickets will be $15. This event will be at the Black Pearl. I believe that's the name. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. And if you're wondering, yes, I already bought my dress. And am I excited for it? That is correct. Also, the MU Community Garden has 3 plots left. So if you are interested in having one of those 3 plots, please contact this person below. This is her Instagram username, so please use it below. Also, MU, the Global Missions Conference is starting up March 16th through the 20th. Mark your calendars right now for that whole week. This year's theme is As You Go. So we're really looking forward to this year's theme and all of the amazing speakers that will be here at Multnomah. And yeah, mark your calendars. Okay, Lions, also mark your calendars for March 12th. We're having spring preview. We're having a spring preview luau. Try saying that 3 times fast. Spring preview luau, spring preview luau, March 12th, we are having a spring preview luau from 7 to 9 p.m. in the JCA cafeteria. This is going to be an awesome event. We'll have some more promotion happening throughout the month, but mark your calendars for that date. All right, guys, y'all need to check your emails more often, okay? If you plan on living here on campus next year, you need to fill out the living requirement form by March 20th. That is the Friday before spring break. So if you don't know where you're living, or if you do plan on living here on campus, that form needs to be filled out by March 20th. So go do that if you haven't.
Guys, we're here today at Chapel and the elections today. So the candidates are going to speak in just a few minutes. Make sure to listen to their speeches and then give them some hard questions at the end. Hopefully it'll be a good race. Best of luck to both candidates. So you have a little bit longer to vote today. So thanks, guys.
And that is it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for being here today in Chapel. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. And again, one more day till Friday. One more day till Friday. Have a great weekend, Lions.
Welcome, everybody. Today is our SGA election chapel. As Moses previously noted, we are going to have our candidates give speeches here in a few minutes. Additionally, we'll have a question and answer at the end of it. And to decide who goes first, we'll have a coin flip. I'd also like to recognize that we this year had 3 parties running. Last week was the primary election, and I'd like to give recognition to Wednesday Sprague and Kyle Butts. Yeah, even though they didn't make it through the primary, we just want to acknowledge how much courage it took for them to put themselves on public display and to give their best shot. So thank you. And now, I'm going to give a prayer for our candidates, and then I will make introductions. So God, I thank you for today. I thank you for each of the candidates, Katie, Stephanie, Dimitri, and Quinn, and that you placed them here for the opportunity to run. Give them the courage to do their best today, and whoever wins, may it be your will. And before I introduce it, I just want to acknowledge again today, the reason we vote is to vote for our representatives to the higher-ups at Multnomah. The SGA team, they help plan events, they kind of target a vision for the school year, and so your vote really does matter. Last year, we had about 200 people vote. This year, let's make it more. So with that, I'd like to introduce our candidates to the stage. First up, Stephanie Wallace and Katie Wilson. Next up, Dimitri Weatherall and Quinn Curry. All right, now we're going to have a coin flip to determine who goes first in the election. Speeches? Yeah, heads. All right, Stephanie is heads, Dimitri is tails, and Shane Meyer is going to give the coin flip. It is tails. Dimitri and Quinn. They defer. Stephanie and Katie will go first.
I'm not that tall. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Katie, if I haven't met you yet, and I am a business student here at Multnomah. So I'm running to be vice president, and I'm running along with Stephanie, as you guys know. So I thought I would come and give kind of the practicalities of why we're running, and after that, Stephanie's going to kind of come up and give you the heart of why we're running and our heart for next school year. So first, the first practical thing we want to implement is we want to do a weekly Instagram takeover. So what that would look like is once a week, we would take over the Instagram and highlight a member of SGA. So whether it be Stephanie or me or the cultural inclusion chair or the CFO, we kind of just want to show you what their day looks like and kind of just invite you into SGA for the week and just kind of see what we do. The second thing we would want to implement would be a monthly newsletter. So in the newsletter, we would have what SGA has done that month, what events are coming up, what petitions have come in and where to sign those, and what clubs are doing, what clubs are being started, and just anything kind of that would be in a newsletter just to keep you guys informed of kind of what's happening here on campus. And third, we wanted to implement a culture of transparency and communication. So we want to do that through emails, through the newsletter, through the Instagram takeovers, and through posting about events on Instagram more than a week before they happen, and through the QR code. So if you guys haven't seen it, there is a QR code outside the SGA office. And if we were elected, we would really want you guys to utilize that, and we want to hear your opinions, your thoughts, just anything you'd want to tell us. That way, if it warrants a response, we can get back to you, and we can be transparent and communicate with you. And the fourth thing that we would want to propose, a CA actually came up with this. We wanted to propose the idea for a new leadership position. And the new leadership position we have dubbed the Inter-Leadership Liaison. So what this person would do is they would communicate with the RAs, the CAs, SGA, and Spiritual Life, and they would be their point person. They would make sure SGA and like CAs communicate and Spiritual Life communicates with RAs, and they would just keep everyone in the loop. That way, if there's events going on, we can tell you guys so you can be at those events, and we can just communicate that to you. So this is just kind of the first things we would want to do if elected. And I just wanted to conclude, Stephanie and I, we just wanted you to know that you would all have a voice at our table. You are all super valuable to us, and if elected, we want you to know that no matter what you had to say, we want to listen to it, and we want to value your voice. We want to cry with you. We want to laugh with you. We want to just hear your heart for this school, and we want to be united as one community. So vote for us, and we'll make it happen.
Good morning. I'm Stephanie, also known as the Den Mother. I'm up here because serving you is dear to me. Even though public speaking is not my favorite, I'm up here to tell you about my heart. I noticed that you guys are afraid I'm going to sneeze on you because there's this big gap. That's fun. I'll be sure to project. So communication and transparency. Everything Katie said, that's our heart. Communication is what makes the world work. It powers our bodies, it keeps our economy going, or causes it to crash. Communication is key to relationships. It's everywhere and done by every living thing. When I played football in high school, I was a wide receiver running back, and in order to know which function I'd be doing in any given play, I had to communicate with my QB. When I was on swim team, I had to learn how to listen to my coach's directions from the water. And let me tell you, communicating from the water is more challenging than communicating on land. In my marriage, Gabe and I had to learn to communicate well with one another. We even had to learn to argue well. Yeah, that's right. There is a right way to argue with your spouse. Lock that little nugget away. The year we got married, 6 other couples in our friend group got married, and Gabe and I are the only ones left. Honestly, it's thanks to communication. Every job I've had, and I've had a few, communication was necessary to do my job well. Whether it was communicating with a client or a vendor, when communicating with coworkers, or anything else. Even this last year as a CA, I've listened to you guys communicate. I've heard your struggles, I've heard your joys, I've heard your frustrations. And over the last few years, we've had a lot of leaders push toward diversity, and I'm sure that was expected this year. And I want to be clear on how I intend to further our strides towards diversity. I know what you're thinking, what does this white girl know about diversity? Diversity is an interesting animal. Everyone has a different experience with diversity, some good, some not so good. The Oxford Dictionary defines diversity as a noun, meaning the state of being diverse or variety, or a range of different things. At Multnomah, we tend to define diversity as a verb, an adjective, something to strive toward and accomplish. So what do I know about diversity? What is my diversity experience? I am one of 42 kids. 42. I'm in the middle, it's fun. But I am one of 3 white kids in my family. I have siblings who come from the Pacific Islands, some from Mexico, some have Native American heritage, some are Black. I have 2 brothers from Honduras. I could go on, but I think you have the picture I'm painting for you. I grew up a minority in my own home. I traveled all over the world, my husband and I, and I've experienced hatred and violence because of the color of my skin, and I've been treated like a queen because of the color of my skin. As a woman in ministry, I've been shut out and spoken down to by the men in leadership at various churches. I've been discouraged from pursuing a Bible degree because it's a waste of time, and I've been dismissed as being here to support my husband's ministry. So what do I know about diversity? I know that it's a knife's edge. Go too far one way and you create distance. Go too far the other, you create dissonance. I know that it can be used as a method of control, it can be used to manipulate, or it can be used to foster an environment that is safe for more than the majority. Communication is the key to diversity. Without communication, diversity remains a noun, a bunch of different parts that don't connect. Adding in communication, both listening and speaking, you create the verb or adjective, something to strive for, no longer separate, unrelated pieces, but a beautiful, harmonious mosaic. In order to create that mosaic, we have to be willing to risk vulnerability and be willing to understand one another. So allow me a moment of vulnerability. I'd like to communicate something with you. It probably sounds silly or trite, but it's the truth. A good leader first must be a good follower. No matter what happens in this election, I will still serve this school. If I was never invited into student leadership, I would still be serving in this school. The Bible gives us all direction, all over the place, to love one another, to serve one another, to lay down our lives for one another, and I take that very seriously. I love with my whole being, and so I pledge to you, no matter the outcome, I will pledge my hands to cheer you on, my shoulder for you to cry on, my legs to stand up for you, my heart to care for you, my ears to listen to you, and my voice to speak up for you. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephanie and Katie. Now welcome to the stage, Quinn Curry and Dimitri Weatherall.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Quinn Curry, and I'm currently a junior in the organizational psychology program with business, and I'm running for vice president with Dimitri as my president. Through my years at Multnomah, I've been a part of the Voices Club, a member of the original Voices Scholars cohort, and have been serving for the past year and a half as one of the 2 chairs for intercultural inclusion. Huge shout out to my partner, Gigi. I want to start with the day-to-day jobs of a vice president. They're called to meet weekly with different chairs of SGA to discuss, support, and create goals. This will come naturally to me since I have been serving for a chair for more than a year now, and I can empathize with the responsibility that they are entrusted with. The vice president will also oversee the implementation of clubs on campus. Through my time with the Voices Club, I was able to see firsthand the support that they might need in terms of promotion, budgeting, and other overall attendance. One of the other responsibilities that is required of a VP is meeting weekly with the president to further help and support and create goals for the team. Dimitri and I are already close friends, and we support each other through daily struggles already. We hope to bring this same camaraderie to next year's SGA team. I want to tell a quick story about my time here at Multnomah. My freshman year, I came to Multnomah just to play basketball and get a degree. I went to class, practice, and then back to my room. And I absolutely hated Multnomah at that time. I didn't know much about the scripture, so I was disconnected in the classroom, and all of my friends were on the basketball team. I began to think about transferring and starting over somewhere else, but I decided to branch out, meet some new people, and decide to become a part of the community. Being in the Voices Club helped me find like-minded people who had hearts for social justice and equity. After my freshman year, I had built a bunch of solid relationships, and in the end, my relationship with Christ had completely transformed. As a sophomore, I became a coordinator in student government, and in that February, became the interim chair for intercultural inclusion. Towards the end of the year, we noticed that the trend of intercultural inclusion chairs had significant burnout due to the emotional stress of having and facilitating these discussions. We decided to split the 1 chair into 2, and it's the best decision we have ever made. This past fall, Gigi and I had a great Mosaic Week. Feedback from the previous Mosaic Week stated that there was too much of an us versus them feeling, so we decided to launch Mosaic Week in 2019 and United to build the sense of unity with our student body. This is a great start, but there's still so much we can do. All of this to say that I have grown to love MU, not for what it currently is, but for what it's becoming. I have truly seen progress on this campus from my first year here in 2017, and that is what drives me to try and make this school even better. Dimitri and myself really want to create an environment where everyone, Black, white, Bible major, business major, athlete, non-athlete, residents, and commuters all feel loved, accepted, and a sense of belonging. How do you plan on doing this effectively, you may ask? Well, it starts with the student body. We want to improve in areas that the community really wants to focus on. We want to empower people on campus to host events, join a club, and such. We want to keep an open line of communication between us and the student body so we know what people desire. Also, Dimitri and I are a unique pairing because of how we are so different. Through our relationship as VP and President, we want to be a great model as to how we, the Multnomah community, can support and follow a leader of color. We also want to work on holding space for majority culture to process and become more educated without worrying about who they might offend in the process. In order for Multnomah to truly grow, we need to step outside of our comfort zones and learn to process ideas and information that are foreign to us. What I'm going to leave you with is this idea of making the big time where you're at. When I was young, and most of the athletes can probably associate with this, I wanted to play basketball at Duke, right? Now, everybody in here know I'm not gonna play for no Duke. But I wanted to go there because they feel big time, right? And that feeling's valid because they do the little things right. I get the feeling around campus that because we are a small Christian university that we can be complacent with mediocrity. This is a fallacy. We as the community can make MU big time. The perfect example of this is already in our own backyard. Shout out to the marketing team. Just go look at MU's Instagram. At first glance, these graphics might not seem to matter too much, but something as small as an Instagram post is what builds up to make MU big time. This is a major theme that we want to take in the student leadership next year, and that's to do the little things right to make MU big time. I just want to thank everyone for giving me and Dimitri a chance to speak today. We really appreciate each and every one of your votes. Shout out to the men's basketball team for supporting us from the very beginning. I'm truly honored to be mentioned with Stephanie, Katie, Wednesday, and Kyle. And without further ado,
the MVP front runner. If anybody else got to say something different about that, then come see me. I'm right here in Beemore outside the bank. If you got an issue with that, come see me. I'm about that. Big trust. Whoop, whoop, the MVP front.
Dimitri Weatherall.
Well, I'm not Lamar Jackson, but I am the MVP. And the P's not for player. Y'all know what I'm running for. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dimitri Weatherall, and I'm currently a junior majoring in the psychology program, and I'm running for the 2020-2021 student body president alongside my good friend and running mate, Quinn Curry. Quinn, I just want to take this time to shout you out real quick. You my bro. I appreciate all you've done. You inspired me to get out of my comfort zone, and it's been an honor running with you. I'd also like to thank my family, some of my closest friends, my boo thing, these other candidates up here, and the mentors along the way. Above all else, I just want to thank God for his countless blessings through it all. That being said, I want to tell you all a little bit about my journey to get to where I am today in order to be standing in front of you all right here at this chapel. If I were to tell you that it was all sunshine and rainbows, that would be a lie. There were plenty of long nights with little sleep, working 2 jobs at once in order to pay for my transcripts at my previous school to get sent over just to be accepted here. It was an extremely hard time of my young adult life, but in due time, it all paid off to be able to be here with you all at Multnomah, pursuing my lifelong dream of playing college basketball and getting an education. Life comes at you fast, and struggles hit us all. Hardships test our faith, and as my journey with Christ has evolved, I now have the strength and vulnerability to stand here before you all and share a little bit about my personal journey to becoming your student body president. My first year here, I can't even lie. I struggled to adjust to this school. I don't have much of a biblical background, and I was struggling in the classes, and it felt like us versus them. Them being the hard Bible professors, passionate about their work and teaching rigorous courses I knew very little about. I was redshirting with basketball and struggling to connect to the larger student body. I realized that instead of leaving because I didn't fit, I would make a change in the system and hopefully make changes for myself and for those who come after me. Being with other students and seeing they felt the same way inspired me to try leadership here so I could be a solution. I've seen that MU was starting to move into the right direction, and being in leadership and serving in that way could make me part of that change. So far, since I've been a Voices Scholar, I've opened the door to help students of color see that things can be led by them. During my time in leadership, I have served as a voice for students in some issues we have faced with music in the athletics department. We are now being trusted by MU to choose music, and we take that responsibility very seriously. Being trusted by the university is a big deal, and it's something I personally do not take lightly. I helped plan and put together our first tip-off event that helped shine light on our athletics department And I hope one day it can be an annual homecoming event where we come together and support one another and celebrate our students. As president, I commit to taking this role very seriously. I commit to being approachable and putting myself in situations to hear the student voices. I commit to having open lines of communication with the student body and hearing from all groups. I know that sometimes I may bring humor and fun to any role, but I care very much about being a bridge for this community. I've commuted, I'm a student of color, I've worked on campus and off campus, I'm an athlete, I'm a Voices scholar, I've been connected to Mindfulness Mondays and utilize our student counseling services. Since then, I've tried to fully immerse myself in the life of Multnomah, and I want to encourage others to do the same. I've done this work already, and I would be really excited to continue that work next year as your president. Although bridges aren't built overnight, this year in SGA, I feel our student body has laid the foundation of what could be a very prosperous university in the near future. If elected, I'm committed to continue working tirelessly to ensure we, the students and faculty, have a forever home at Multnomah University that we can all be proud of. We know that MU is small, but the change happens where we make it happen. We don't need to wait for MU to be bigger or even to be different. We need to act now. Make the small school the big time where you belong. It takes more than myself, it takes more than Quinn, it takes more than faculty, it takes you, the students and the voices of Multnomah to help bring mine and Quinn's vision to life. With that, I just want to leave you all with this quote from George Washington Carver, the most prominent African-American scientist of the 20th century. Start where you are with what you have, make something of it, and never be satisfied. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so now we're going to go to a time of question and answer. So we have mics on each side of the room. The questions will only be on the mics. There's going to be no submission platform for questions. So if you have a question, please come to the mic and direct it at either a specific candidate, all the candidates, or yeah, anything else.
Hello? See, I don't know how to use this darn thing. Anyway, my basic question then is how you plan as being students, athletes, to balance this out with also taking on a huge responsibility, being the student body president. How do you plan to deal with the time management generally? Anyone can answer that.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. Well, first off, I've been serving in student government for the past year and a half, along with playing basketball. It's kind of second nature to me now. I meet regularly with advisors like Shane and Jessica, and even somebody in the counseling center to help me get my things in order. That's a great job of me like getting it down because one of my closest friends, DJ from the from the house over here, counseling house, that's what it is, told me that unless I get it down on paper, I constantly am thinking about things and it's hard for me to be present. So like whether or not I'm having an event, if I'm constantly thinking about what I gotta do, then it's hard for me to kind of focus. So just getting it down.
I've already spent this year as a CA, and that's a really big commitment. I've had to balance marriage and schoolwork and 42 siblings and all of that, just life in general, and doing that as a CA. So I think that's done a really good job and prepared me to go forward in this. And even church leadership, I'm a member of the board at my church, and balancing all of that is, balance is a good key word. Balance is great.
I think the first big thing is to set healthy boundaries and just try to do that for myself. And time management is key, just putting student government first and school first.
Basically kind of the same thing. I served on leadership this year as well, so I kind of already know how to balance it and how to juggle that, and it comes with just writing things down and planning, meeting with advisors, and just kind of figuring things out. But writing it down is key for me.
Come to the mics with your questions.
It's on. All right.
Over here.
I've heard about Stephanie's QR code and about getting the students' voices up. I was wondering, Dimitri's team, how you guys plan on hearing the students' voices and if you guys will be having a similar system.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that question. Since being on SGA, I know that we have a QR code, so that planned on being my open line of communication to get to me, to hear your voice, to hear your problems, see what we could do.
Wednesday.
Hi guys. First of all, congratulations, you guys. I did a question. This is a little bit more towards Quinn and Dimitri, but you guys can answer as well. There was a lot of talk about the us versus them, and I think that's a big part of Multnoma's culture. So I want to know, what is your guys' plan to tackle that? Because we have the idea of the big picture, and I think it's amazing, but I want to know what's the action behind you guys, and what's the plan to actually even tackling that issue for both diversity and Bible versus athletics majors?
I think it first starts with being intentional. So whether or not it's just a boring, not boring, I mean like a regular event, it's kind of just being intentional with how you phrase things and intentionally inviting people who are from different backgrounds as you. I think one thing that we could have improved on this past year is getting people from other backgrounds. So like, for example, for Black History Month, we showed the Kevin Hart's Guide to Black History in the MC House. And it was kind of just a bunch of people who all thought the same way. The discussion was like surface level because we all agreed with each other. And I think it starts with being specific about what do we want to achieve here. And it even comes down to with tip-off or lion launch, being specific that we want everybody, regardless of what you think, anything. I think we kind of assumed that everybody would just come and come together, but obviously that hasn't worked. So we need to be specific about what we want and then give people the tools of empathy and such to be able to connect with people who are different.
I love the intentionality, yeah. I think face-to-face conversations and communicating with each other. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. Let's go sit in Rogers. Let's hang out. I don't want to be the person that just passes you in the hall. I've been at a church where people got out of the way of the pastor and fled to classrooms so that they weren't in their way. And I don't want that. I don't think anyone up here wants that. We want to be relational, and that starts with conversations and loving each other. And I think that's the most important thing is being willing to listen. I think it was Dr. Harper, one of my very first chapels here last year was shut up and listen. That's the best way to communicate. And I think that's a really important piece is just let people speak when they're suffering, when they're joyous, just take it in.
I was just wondering, it's a question for both teams, that would be fair. How do I do this? Is there anything, or are you thinking about doing anything in regards to disability and that kind of, those sorts of different experiences? I mean, I don't like the term disability, but that's the general term that's used, so I'm using that. Do you have any plans for maybe, I don't know, just addressing that more, focusing or a little bit on maybe those experiences as well?
So just to kind of start to speak to that question, what I know I would love to do is if just to sit down with you and to hear what it's like to have a disability on this campus. I'm a very fortunate student to where I don't have to deal with that. So just having, if you do have something, just coming and talking to us so that we can hear just what your experience is, and then from there, like understanding, going forward and figuring out what to do from there.
I also think that, that creating the spaces for people, the Veterans Center was a really good place for people who are getting overwhelmed to go and have like a quiet place. And I hope it becomes that again in its little fishbowl area, that there's an area for veterans who need a minute to go and have that. And I hope that we can create other spaces. There's the beanbag chair in the den up in the loft area. That's where I go when I need a minute. It's comforting and cozy. There's places all over campus. The Multicultural Center has the prayer room, which is a great place to just kind of be by yourself for a minute, but there's also places, like the den, like the JCA Lounge, like the Multicultural Center main floor, where you can be in community with people and be heard and be loved on. So.
Yeah, so everybody knows that something that close to me and Dimitri's heart is intercultural inclusion, right? But culture is not just race. It includes like commuter culture, resident culture, and I think students with disabilities fall under intercultural inclusion. And it's something that we really want to tackle, and we're down to listen to your thoughts on it or whatever you're thinking, and we'll try to make it happen. We both don't have disabilities, so we really want to hear from you, because if we try to impose whatever we think it should be, that could end poorly. So we definitely want to hear from you guys.
We have time for 2 more questions. Come to the mic if you got one.
How's it going, everyone? So I have 2 things that I'd like to all candidates. First thing is there are actions and steps being taken for the veteran community, which I'm super excited about. But ways that you'd like to implement more of representation for the veteran community, because it's growing in population. So ways as a diverse population to be more implemented. Second thing is I'm married with a child, and I know there's other people here that are married with children or people that have children. What are some ways you plan to implement so we could take part in events? Because sometimes it's just like you get kind of separated because you're like, well, I have to go to my kid, and you guys have an event at 9 o'clock at night. So ways that we could get more included for people with families. So that's my questions.
So we're actually super excited about the renovations being done to the study that actually is going to be the Veterans Resource Center. So it's going to be a space for you guys. I mean, everyone is welcome. Like Quinn said, diversity is something we really take seriously. It's really close to our hearts, and intercultural inclusion is for everyone. So everyone is included, and that's what we got for y'all right now. But we tackling bigger things, and we're doing our best.
Well, I don't have kids. I am married, so I have a big child over there. Just ask him, he'll tell you. But, there's a lot of things that we have on campus. The basketball games, I love seeing little kids running around the bleachers and stuff like that. And even the kickoff barbecue that we do, where we have those big, giant cornhole blow-up thing, that was awesome. Those are, super kid-friendly. We do have a lot of kid-friendly games. In fact, I've thought about bringing some of my youth kids to the 5th quarter because it's something right up their alley. They love that. And so there's those kinds of events. But for little kids, I'd love to do things more in the athletics department where we can have a coloring contest while they're, watching the soccer game, and having time and halftime where the soccer players can come up and meet the kids and stuff like that. And just things. When we do the activities night where we had the metal ball that was rolling around. Like, bring your kids, you guys. We've got the little basketball hoop thing. Bring them. They're welcome. And I like to hold cute babies.
Just about the veteran. So we would love for you guys to come and sit down and talk to us and tell us like what your experience at Multnomah is, because I don't know what that experience is like. So if you could come sit down and talk to us and like tell us what you need from us, we can work together and work out a solution to give you better representation.
One last question.
All right, so I know Quinn and D-Dub, you guys are already involved in the Voices Club, but I was just curious, how are you guys planning on integrating culture, and maybe like some examples maybe you guys would do if you guys won?
Is that to both people or?
I think that our school does a really good job of that. And as president, for me, I want to, my vision is to just sit down with people and talk with them. The communication aspect and loving on people. And I love all like points of view, and I like to grow my own point of view. I don't like to surround myself with people that have like-mindedness, because then I won't grow. And so it's more than just us, it's the whole team of leadership, and it's you guys, you know, stepping out. And I know that's hard when you feel like you don't have a space to do that. And so I think that our leadership does a really good job of creating spaces, and I hope you find your way into one of them.
Yeah, I think if you guys have seen like the posters and was in the WVS for the luau, I think like things like that are a really great way to just experience another culture, and think if we just did more events like that, opening it up to students to or maybe just like having an event in the JCA where we bring different cultures and food, and just to experience that and to just be open.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I can speak for me and Dimitri. We'll be around today, so if you have other questions, feel free. I'm sure you guys are down to answer other questions as well, like in lunch or whatever. So voting is from...
Yeah, can we give a round of applause for all our candidates? Okay, so voting has opened now. You should have received a link in your emails, and there's also a QR code posted around campus for you to have easy access to the link to vote. And the voting will run from 10:45 to 2 p.m. Thank you. You are dismissed.